Hi, welcome to my video tutorial. Today I'm looking at inspiration, and I want to use inspiration to actually create an essay. We can use it to structure, organise and plan your essays. Now I'm going to leave it on diagram view, but you can also use map view, which I'll show you at a later date. An outline view is all the text format in linear format. So I'm going to leave it on diagram view and click that. So now with that highlighted, I can type in a title of my essay. So I'm just going to make up something, car project. So there's my title. Using inspiration, you can then export it to a Word document, even a PDF, and if you want, even to PowerPoint presentation. But I'm just going to export it to a Word document, so I need to plan my essay and structure it. So I need to create my first paragraph. Now we can do that a couple of ways. If you go up to the top left hand corner, if I move symbols down for you, create, if I hover around, you can probably see it highlighting in different directions. So I'm going to do around 1 o'clock. I like to keep it clockwise so I know which is my first paragraph. I'm going to drag that out. Now I'm going to type in the title of my first paragraph. Now I want to keep this simple, just call it introduction. Left click off it, so I've got my first paragraph. Now before I carry on, let me explain exactly what I'm going to do. Now I could just carry on here and do a second paragraph, third paragraph and so on. Which is a great way to plan your essays. But why don't we go a little bit further on this? Let's go back to introduction. Why don't we actually break down introduction into sections? Subparagraphs if you like, so you can add the required content to each section of your paragraph. So you make sure you're concentrating on what's required rather than going off on one. Or sometimes it's easy to contradict what you're saying in the same paragraph or section. This will stop you from doing it. Let me show you what I mean. Now I said there's two ways to create a symbol. I show you the way up here. The other way is to highlight the symbol, hold left control button down and then click the left mouse button, also creates one. I'm going to click back on the introduction, hold the left control button then left click on the mouse. So what I've done here, if I show you, let me just move that into the middle, is I've took my introduction, I'm breaking it down into two sections. So the first section of my introduction, I could talk about maybe a little bit review on the history of cars. And the second part of my introduction, I could maybe talk about present day. So what this enables me to do is break down my paragraphs or chapters into sections. So I put the required content in. So now if I click on history of cars, I need to add a note. If I drag that note a little bit bigger, holding the left mouse button in the right hand corner, I can drag that larger. Now I can start typing the history of cars and put my information that I require. So that'd be the first part of my paragraph. Then I can move on to the second part of my introduction, my first paragraph. Add a note. Then add your information here. So what I'm trying to get you to do really is just break down each section into separate sections so you can add the required content. And I'll show you when I export that to Word exactly how that works. Looking at that map though, it all looks the same to me, so I need to change that a little bit. So why don't I click on car project, go to the symbols palette and type in there car and click enter to see what I get. We've got some Google images. There's only 11 there, but you can always go online to Google Images and download what you want. So I want to choose that car's fine, and it's changed it. It's just for those visual mapping. Now I want this to stand out, this section to stand out from the rest, so why don't I colour code that? Hold the left button and highlight those three symbols. Come to the bottom and there's your colour palette. I'm going to choose a red, and there we go. Then we go down to your second paragraph and we can do the same, drag that out. And if you want to break that down, remember left control and left click, and you can break your second section down into separate sections. So when you put the required content in there, we export it to Word, we can join them together, which I'll show you in a minute. So let's have a look what we've done. Now I want to see how it's going to look in a Word document, so if we go to the top left hand corner, outline, click on that, and this is how it's looking so far. So I've got my title, my first paragraph, my sub-paragraphs from my first paragraph, and I've got my second paragraph, and if I wanted to I could break that down into 3 sections. Now I'm going to click back to diagram. Now I'm going to export that quickly to Word to give you an idea how it will look. So go to transfer, or if you go to file you can also use the export button there. But I'm going to click transfer. Before we actually export it to a Word document, it's asked me do I want to include this map on top that I've just created. It would be good for me, but in this case I'm just going to untick it because I want to give it in as an essay. So I'll untick that. Topics, fine, the topics we've added, we want them. Hidden topics, we haven't got any hidden topics at the moment because we've got the topics in there, so we don't worry about that. Prefixes, yeah, we can get rid of them. Look, we don't need a number and a lettering. Also I'd get rid of indents, it's up to you, but I untick that so it gives us just a straight margin. Click OK. It's going to ask you to save your inspiration document before exporting it, which I'm going to do now. I'll save that to my desktop, I'll leave it as card project and click save. Maximise Word, and here we go. So we've got the title of my essay, got the first introduction here which I broke down into 2 sections, history of cars and present day. So now what I could do is actually delete those 2 titles, my first paragraph, and join that 1 paragraph together with the required content, and then you can carry on working on it in Word, but you're getting your basis done and getting your required information into each section first. And the same goes for paragraph 2. And if you really want to, which you will need to do, you can add your line spacing and choose the fonts you need and font size, and you're done. If I close that Word document and don't save. So there's just a quick map, a quick concept of using it. There's so many things you can do with mind mapping. I'll be doing a few more tutorials in the future. Thanks for watching.